got quiet there. I thought you hung up on me. I was like, that just goes to show you how I need to go right back up and turn Pluto back on, because that seemed to work fine for me.
Turn Pluto back on.
Yeah, go back to see the world from above or something. Anyway, go ahead. I told you I was in a great mood until I turned this freaking new computer on, and then it's ruined me.
Shouldn't the new computer make you feel better?
It would, had it worked correctly. It's a piece of junk.
Well, see, now you got me scared. I need to go buy a computer and get the microphone and everything all so I can be professional. And now I'm afraid this is going to be a piece of junk, and I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah. There used to be a store called Best Buy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We still got one.
Okay, well, ours closed, but the one here closed. I used to live in Minneapolis. There were almost as many as McDonald's. And I think I probably told the story. Maybe I haven't. I walked in in 2000, in January of 2016. Right? That tells you how monumental it was, right?
Oh, yeah. Did you remember?
I bought a desktop in 2006 at Best Buy. 10 years later, in 2016, I was buying a laptop. And I went in there and I told the kid I wanted the cheapest one he had. And he goes, dude, the cheap ones aren't that great. And he's showing, and down on the bottom was these Dells that had like, I don't know, 4 gigs of RAM. I don't remember what it had. But when I explained to him, dude, the desktop I'm using is 10 years old. This thing's going to be like a Ferrari compared to it. And there's no way you're using a 10-year-old desktop. I said, all the time. So I bought this computer and I went on the web. I ended up buying 8 gigs went to Newegg and bought 8 gig sticks of RAM. I maxed the RAM out, reloaded the software, the operating system, and it is the best computer. And I think I said a couple weeks ago how it's getting lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now I'm getting these emails because it's a Windows 8 computer, and it says we're no longer going to support this or whatever. You know what I mean? We're no longer going to support it. Well, I used to put a lot of stuff on my OneDrive so I could get it on whichever computer I had. You know what I'm talking about when I say Microsoft OneDrive?
No, I don't, but I'll pretend I do.
It's a cloud-based system. and I couldn't access my stuff because it's saying your shit's too old because you need Windows 10. And I went to Windows 10 and it says this doesn't support that. So I gave in and I got this new laptop that on paper looks like it ought to be. It's got a terabyte. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. It ought to be. And I reloaded the software, the operating system to get all the bloatware off of it. And it's just a hunk of shit, man. It wants to update and load and update and load. And like tonight when I'm ready to go, it's not.
Jason, he's always got it update everything. I'm doing all my stuff on a iPad that I bought in 2015. I don't know. I haven't got to do none of that stuff. It updates when it updates. But it's always ready to go.
Well, I've learned because some of that stuff they just quit updating it anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I was in a foul mood because I walked past. I'm in the basement. I walked past my old laptop sitting in the case, feeling neglected. Right. So I mirrored these things up. I did some voodoo. So this thing, when you open it up, it looks identical to my old one. Right?
Yeah, a little bit of nostalgia.
Right? Well, it's a way to put all your stuff on it. I transferred every single thing on my old laptop to my new laptop. It's just my new laptop. When I fire that bad boy up, she's ready to run. You know what I mean? It's like an old Nova or something. If you got a little gas in it, and it's going to run. Might not run the best, but it's going to run. I got this new thing here, and it looks cool. It's like thin. It's silver, almost like a brushed aluminum looking. And it's just, it's all hat and no cattle, So
I tell Christy whenever she's talking about trading me in on a younger model, I'm like, look, It might look shiny on the outside, but don't wait. We use this line in a song. How about this? Don't fall for the paint job. You better check under the hood. How about that? We just used that line in a song. What do you think about that one?
I've listened to more country music the last 72 hours than I have in a long time. And every one of those songs I heard my kids listening to, I could have wrote.
No, there you go. I can set you up with a writing session. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I can't spell, remember?
That's okay. We got spell check. Oh.
But, you had it, Stacy. Who had a question?
Okay. So on one of our favorite guests, Stacy Brown, out of the blue last week. I can only imagine how Stacy Brown goes through his life on a daily basis. Just, head on a swivel, ready for the next thing he's going to
shoot a drop. Or what they used to say, waiting for the balloon to go up.
Waiting for the balloon to go up.
They used to say, waiting for the balloon to go up. That's when you're.
I want to read, but I'm going to read this text I got from him verbatim, and Swiss says, he goes, I want to ask the Howler, why do some men decide to pull their pants all the way down to their ankles at the urinal? Is it a territorial thing? And I go, okay, I'll ask him on the next show. And he said, I just witnessed this at the mall. I had a few words for the dude, but it just doesn't make sense.
He probably needs to go back to the country. Okay. So two things struck me. The first thing struck me was him even asking me that question makes me realize that I have failed as a human being. Okay. Because two things could happen. Like my kids constantly, especially my boys, they have to go to their mom because they're so scared to ask me something, right? Which is the way it should be.
Exactly.
So
took the words right out of my mouth.
He should have been scared to ask me that for a half a second, and then I realized I should be flattered because I should be flattered that he is looking for me for, I don't necessarily call it wisdom, but I have been to at least a dozen county fairs. I've been to some state fairs. I've been to some axle greasing, some goat ropings. I've been to Amsterdam on Queen's Day. I've been to London on I can't even think of what that big holiday is, but they got a big holiday. It's not 4th of July. Don't screw up and ask them about 4th of July because they don't like it over there in England. I have been to France on their celebration. I can't even think. I've been to 2 Olympics. I've been to 2 Super Bowls. I've been to 2 Pro Bowls. I've been to something else. So to answer his question, first of all, it's gravity. 9.8 meters per second squared. It was proven in a Guinean feather tube, or 32 feet per second or 9.8 meters per second squared. So gravity is always going to want to pull those pants down, right? And for whatever reason, those confused young men, right? It's a slippery slope. You always hear about marijuana being the gateway drug. Them baggy pants is a gateway thing for them to, next year they might not even be using a urinal. They'll be in the other bathroom squatting, okay? But what they really want to do is fluff their underwear out is what it started as, right? So they buy them pants about 4 sizes too small to where they have to go on their hips. The real gangsters do. Then they fluff their powdery underwear. And you should have asked him what underwear these fellas had, because I'm sure it had a design on it, right?
Well, I think they were down at his ankles.
Well, that's because when he pees, it's got to fall because he can't hold it because the damn things are too. He can't pull them up like normal people.
Hey, listen, he's like you're thinking this is a young guy. He said this is a guy in our age bracket. in me and yours age bracket who should know better than to stand there with his pants down to his ankles. You're assuming this is like a guy who doesn't have a belt, who's wearing baggy pants, trying to show off his butt while he's walking.
Well, if that's the case, he might be baiting a trap. It's a honey trap. He wanted. maybe he should have been. Stacy should have been in condition orange or yellow or orange. I think yellow is a little, not quite red because you don't know, right? But when you got your pants down in the bathroom, red is bread. So, but he's probably condition yellow, trying to figure out what the hell's going on with him. And another thing I'd say is, what kind of urinal is it? One of them trough ones, you know what I mean, where it's a whole big, like you're peeing in a trough, or was it a single urinal? There's a whole lot of unanswered questions here.
I got to think at a mall, it's probably just a regular urinal, right? I mean, troughs are.
What was he doing at the mall? First of all.
Well, that was kind of my question. I'm a big fan of Stacy Brown's. He's been on the show a couple times. If our listeners haven't heard the Patreon episode of us debating the moon landing being fake, it's a great episode. I consider Stacy Brown, and I know he's going to hear this. I'm not trying to butter his biscuit. I think he's one of the coolest guys that I know. He is who he is. No apologies.
So rare in today's world.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. He doesn't care, if he's a little politically incorrect. He knows where he stands, and even if all of us don't agree with everything, I respect everything that he says and does because I know he means it, and that's the way he. So to me, like I picture Stacy Brown walking up to this guy as he's with his pants down to his ankles and just kind of whispering in his ear saying, dude, what's wrong with you, man? This isn't the America that I live in where a grown man, has his pants to his ankles. Pull your pants up and collect yourself and finish your business and get out of here. And I think Stacy might have mentioned it, just kind of smack the guy on the butt and say, all right, good talk, man.
Now, this is why you think that way, because you're still in the 80s.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, because you know what? I'm telling you what, every day I have a love-hate relationship with Twitter. Right?
I don't really get on there. I just put our daily
because there's so much craziness on there, and this is where I'm going with that is I took my kids to State Fair this week, whatever day it was, a couple of days ago, whatever day I tweeted the picture of the mules. Did you see the pictures of the mules?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's where my head is. I'm over in the mule barn looking at jackasses and draft horses, and that's where I want to be. But to get there, I had to wade through a plethora of trash. Okay. That cannot be picked up because they're walking around on two legs. And there was 100 times the old me, not really the old me, the subconscious me wanted to just look at these people and ask them what ever possessed them to be in the kind of condition they are in. But you can't, because you don't know who's got a gun, who's got a knife, you know what I mean? There's just so many weirdos out there. I mean, that was probably some undercover cop setting a trap for somebody.
Could be. You mean
the dude with his ankles? Yeah. Don't you remember who was that? Who was that senator from Idaho?
Minnesota. Was he from Minnesota?
He was from Idaho or Utah. And he was in the airport in Minneapolis going back to his district. Yeah. Remember tapping his feet under the thing. So that was probably some undercover dude. It's probably some weirdo, right? Probably a cop that is a weirdo, because I've met more weirdo cops the last couple of years than I have my whole lifetime. Okay. So he's there trying to tease, and then if you take him up on it and he likes it, you're okay. But if you're appalled, well, then he's going to try to arrest you for being a weirdo.
For soliciting or something.
Yeah. So it's probably just one big honeypot. So when I see some dude with his shorts, pants around his butt like that, I steer clear of him because you just the only thing you can do.
I mean, that's just something you picture like a
I think
5-year-old kid doing because he doesn't know any better.
What did John Wayne say in the movie Big Jake? When he smacks the guy that's playing his kid and says, you might not respect your elders, but you're going to respect your better, right? I think it goes the other way. Nowadays, you're going to have to respect your worse because that shit's contagious. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to stay away from everybody and just go right back to your hideout because there ain't nothing but bad stuff. What was that? Don't you remember? And I hate to keep talking about movies, but what was the movie with Apocalypse Now when they get out of the boat to get some mangoes and they get a tiger and they're shooting and running the boat and shooting, running the boat and the old chef jumps in the boat and the other guy jumps in the boat and the 50 cal opens up and the M60 cleans up and the chef takes his helmet off those guys. It says, don't ever get out of the boat. And then Sheen's character says that, yeah, you don't ever get out of the boat unless you're going all the way. And then he goes back to Kurtz and Kurtz went out of the boat and went all the way, right? So any kind of confrontational, man-to-man confrontation in a bathroom, men's room.
We're ready to go all the way.
Because if you say something, he's going to turn around and piss on you. So you can't even approach him because that's a freaking tripwire right there.
He's got his gun. He's already got his gun out.
Yes.
A matter of speaking.
And then he pisses on you. You got monkeypox, and they're trying to figure out if you're a weirdo, and you're just going no. And some dude pissed on me in the bathroom. And then the nurse would be like, "Well, whatever your yellow showers are," and you're like, "No, I'm a victim here."
Oh, well, I hope that answered the question enough that nobody.
I think it answers more questions. We probably lost listeners on that.
I don't look. I think this episode might get forwarded. Some people say, "Hey, look, this is a good public service announcement."
I almost said some bad stuff, but I would hate to alienate the 82 followers I have, so I did.
This men's urinal public service announcement is brought to you by Stacy Brown, the Howler, and the From the Shadows podcast.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
Don't
what we have.
Don't eat the urinal cake.
Don't eat the big white mint. You know what movie that was?
Oh, what was that one? I don't know.
That was Roadhouse.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, don't eat the big white mint.
So I saw something that I was kind of amused by, but I was kind of impressed by. We took a real quick 2.5-day trip down to see my daughter in South Carolina.
Yep.
I'd wanted to actually meet. We got a fan down there of the paranormal side of the podcast. I think he likes both of them, but I'd been wanting to meet him. He's got some good stories he wanted to share, but I just didn't have time to get down there. But we went to, so where she lives is Rock Hill, and near it is a place called Fort Mill, and these places have a bunch or had a bunch of old cotton mills. One was an old car factory, just a bunch of big brick buildings that the town, rather than tearing down, is repurposing into some really cool things.
Right.
And we both have kids that play travel sports. We understand the money that is generated for places that host sports, any kind of sporting event. If you host it and people come from, it's going to bring tons of money into your community because of that sport.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rock Hill has decided not only are they going to one of these big, I think it was the Anderson Car Factory, which I'd never even heard of the Anderson car, but it was produced in the 20s,
yep.
early 30s maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But so they turned this place into, had basketball courts and stuff like that. But Rock Hill has taken a stance. They're going to be kind of like a sports tourism place.
Destination.
Destination.
Yeah.
So they have 3 different world championships that they hold there, that ESPN comes for the week or the weekend and videos, puts on the air, okay, on one of their 15 different channels they have. One is the BMX. They do.
Yeah, I know what BMX is.
They do BMX.
Oh yeah.
And roller skating and stuff like that, and they have a really cool park and place for kids to do all that stuff and train. And then it's such a nice facility to hold the world championships. Then they also have, I think, the disc golf world championships there at Rock Hill, which disc golf is pretty, it's pretty big in this area and stuff. I actually work with a guy who's a professional disc golfer at the post office. I mean, he's not really high up, but he's actual professional. Then in this huge Anderson car factory building that has a restaurant in the back, they have this place that it's a big, huge bar, and you can go and they have cornhole leagues. I mean, everybody knows what cornhole is, right? You play.
Well, I don't like to admit it, but yes, I know what it is.
Okay. Well, they have. It's called the American Cornhole League, and it's a really big. And they just had the World Championships of cornhole at Rock Hill in this facility, and they estimated brought in over $10 million to the economy for that week. And I just sat back with my daughter and my son-in-law and Christy, and I'm just like. And the community where we live has debated for 7 years on whether to put in a facility with 3 basketball courts and 6 volleyball courts and a full soccer field with a track, because they just can't see how it would make it. I'm like, it's no wonder our small communities are behind 100 years, because they just can't get out of their own way. You get half the community hasn't even left the county. They don't understand. You go out there. I mean, there's a town making $10 million in their economy for cornhole championships.
Yeah, but if you've got the cornhole championship, how many people with their underwear down around their ankles are you going to have in the bathroom? Some people just don't want that.
You know what? For $10 million in the economy, and that's just one thing. I mean, imagine what the disc golf brings in and the BMX and stuff. I got handed to. They had, they've really rebuilt that downtown. It looks fantastic, and they're doing some great stuff. I just wish more small communities would figure that out.
Yeah, but if we did that, if everybody did that, then those few places wouldn't be special, and then things would get watered down, and then instead of making 10 million next year, they're making 5 million because they've got one competition, to divide their people up, and then the next year there's 2, and they're making 2.5, and the next year, next thing you know.
I'm not talking about let's build a building and hold the cornhole championships, okay? But at least let's build a facility on par with some of these other facilities that can have basketball and volleyball and soccer. Everybody does it.
You're a visionary.
They just travel somewhere. Well, I'm not a visionary. I just know that they would be profitable. They would bring tons of business into the community. Tons of it. I mean,
you know what I've done here lately, the last few years, and you should try it.
What's that?
I expect less, and then I'm not disappointed out of my fellow human being.
Listen,
especially city managers and government people.
Yes, I know. And to quote our sometimes super producer Phil, I shouldn't tell tales out of class, so I won't, about our county commissioners decided they'd rather spend $1 million on than
What'd they spend it on?
facility.
Road, bridge, dump truck.
Oh, they built a building that they could hold evidence in, even though they had one. They
For
gave
the
that
police department, the sheriff's office, or something.
sheriff's department, yeah.
My God, how much evidence they got?
They don't. That's what I'm saying. But they had money, and they're like, well, we I could see if they wanted to hire a couple of people, but they just finished this road from the sheriff's office that so cut across, and they built this great big building that they could park some vehicles in and put some evidence in. And it's like, are you serious? That building's not going to make you guys a dime. If the commissioners would have helped kick in that $1 million, because the town
you could have made $10 million and built 5 of them buildings.
Yeah, but they don't see it that way. They see it like, well, we got this $1 million, we got to spend it. But that's kind of old. Some people are old school like that, and they're like, well, I don't want to take a chance. What if we don't make 10 million? But yeah, but what if you do?
What if we build it and they don't come?
And they would. Believe me, I run the elementary league around here, and we got probably gonna have 100 boys and girls, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, or 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade basketball teams playing in it. That thing will run from December through March, and it'll generate more money than they could even imagine. But they can't. But they don't bother to really.
Well, that's not a true mark of the testament, because they probably can't imagine very good, which is why they don't want to do it.
No, I know. That's why they're elected officials.
They want to keep it safe, right?
I will tell you what I can't figure out, though, is why there's toll booths in West Virginia. Because, well, I'm just telling you, I don't feel like I should pay to drive through that state. I feel like they should pay me, because that's white knuckle, man. I can't. That is not fun.
Did you ever see the John? I know you're familiar with Johnny Knoxville and his work.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen that one he produced, The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
No, but I know Julian, who directed it.
Okay, that I don't know how he's got to be one of the just if you got his contact information, reach out to him. He's got to be one of the toughest men alive. Now, I know he worked with you all on David's deal, right?
Yep.
Okay. Between those two things, to fight your way through that, it's the Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, and especially for our foreign visitors, our foreign listeners. I guess they can get it on Netflix. I don't know if they Google it up, they can see parts of it on YouTube. Okay.
Yes.
The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. If they want to see what those
living in the holler.
Well, what I was going to say, their ancestors that made it. I like to think that the best DNA was able to get out of the Anglo-Saxon European world and get over here, right?
Yeah, and survive.
Survive
the boat, survive the ship ride.
Yeah, escape the potato famine and the North Sea, and to get over here and to get out and make this nation what it is, right? Well, exactly. Unfortunately, something happened in the hills of West Virginia, and my grandmother's from Ingle County, West Virginia, so I feel like I have the ability to talk. There's a reason why she don't live there anymore. I mean, those people. I was trying to figure out, was it real or is it scripted? Or are those people just that?
That was 100% real. It was 100% real.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So after I watch that, I'm going to probably steer clear of West Virginia a while, just because
I will say, okay.
I haven't. The roads are all crooked. Excuse me. I haven't been there in years because the roads are all crooked.
Oh, it's terrible.
I was out in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's full of tunnels and bad roads. And I know West Virginia is even worse. So I've just steered clear the last few years, just because I don't like crooked roads, and the tunnels don't bother me, but the crooked roads are just terrible out there.
Hey, last time I went through Pennsylvania, they don't even have people working the toll booths. They just take a picture of your
and send you a bill.
Send you. It was $125 last year.
How many times did you go through?
We went part of the way going and all the way back coming. Okay, coming back. So it was $24 to go down through and back West Virginia. There are 3 toll booths. There's $125 to do Pennsylvania. And I remember when I called the lady to dispute it, the year I had my stuff from the year before, it was $26. And of course, it's this lady who doesn't speak very good English. And
you didn't? I figured she'd have a cleft palate. What do you mean? You go back to Ohio. You don't want to pay this money. You stay out there in Ohio, boy. But you come into West Virginia, you're going to pay.
No, it was the lady for the Pennsylvania
Especially
toll.
you drive this big old Suburban. You driving that new Suburban and you ain't got no money for no toll. Don't lie to me, boy.
Well, the kicker was when I called to say, why is this so much? And she was, well, tolls went up 20%. And I said, honey, it was $26 to go through the same road last year. I'm not sure how you guys add in Pennsylvania, but they ain't 20%.
So what'd you say? Sorry, I'll check into it.
No, she goes, well, that's all I can tell you. And I said, all right, I'll pay it, whatever. But it's
a percentage.
I don't. She gets a percentage of what?
Of that extra 100, she just got them. Think about that.
I know.
She can split it with the state. The state gets a half, and these people get a half. That's the only way these state workers don't make any money and go out there and hustle. Just pay them a percent, man.
Well, if you don't even have to work at the toll booth to collect tolls, that's kind of a sham, And what I really couldn't figure out is gas was $1 a gallon cheaper in Ohio and Virginia and North and South Carolina than it was in West Virginia. And West Virginia is the only place charging tolls.
Maybe they don't want you to.
I can't figure it out. But we did stop. We've driven past Charleston, West Virginia. I don't know how many times in our life. The big Golden Dome. I think it's the state capital, West Virginia. We decided, because it's about the halfway point, we're going to stop on the way back yesterday, on the way home. That's a pretty nice little town. You think it's West Virginia, it's depressed. They talk about, how poor it is. Downtown's, most of it's pretty nice and fixed up. They had a nice old train station that is now a farmer's market. It was really, really nice. So
I think they have a whole lot. I know the U.S. government has a lot of facilities in West Virginia now.
Really?
A lot of records. I think the APHIS system there, the automatic fingerprint indexing system's there. The records group is there. And the only thing I can figure out is if the world ever collapses, or if an opposing country ever fights a way over here to us, they did that because then, there's some of the people call it Appalachian. That West Virginia, those hills, that the government would collapse into West Virginia and it would be its own, like Afghanistan in the hills, let the Chinese come and take it, or whoever's coming to collect.
I listen, all I know is when I drive through West Virginia, I look up in those,
Isn't that John Denver?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Take me home, country roads.
You saw Lucky, what was that show? Logan Lucky?
No.
Oh my God, dude, that's the best freaking. Anyway, go ahead.
I just look up there and I say, well, if there's anywhere there's going to be a Bigfoot, it's going to be up there in the hills of West Virginia.
The problem is you can't find them because they don't want to be found.
That's right. And speaking of shows, I did finally. I finished The Old Man. 2 thumbs up, man.
I binge watched it the other day. It took me, once I got going, it took me a day and a half to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, we just got to stretch it out.
Well,
So, yeah, if anybody's got Hulu and wants a good show to watch, The Old Man, I strongly
I
recommend.
thought there's more than one season. I didn't realize it was just one season. I was kind of bummed out.
I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen. I mean, I kind of figured some of that stuff at the end might be going on, but still, until they said it, I was like, wow, that was pretty good. Plus, I like John Lithgow and Jeff Bridges, great actors, and they, when they're together, it was even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah. So that trip through West Virginia, it's a beautiful, beautiful state, but man, that's just tough. The older I get, that's just the twists and turns and up and down.
Well, can't you go some other route?
We looked, and every other route adds about 3 hours onto the trip.
Why don't you get an airplane? Just drive down to Columbus, get on an airplane, and get off down there.
Yeah, we're thinking that in future years that might be our. I like driving. I mean, I think you probably do too, somewhat. Like, I like to see America a little bit. Get out there and drive and see what's up.
You don't. Well, I mean, some things I like to see, but I don't know. I just, I think I foundered on travel this year because I have.
You're all over the place. You're always traveling.
Well, the last few times I went, like the state fair when I was a kid, I used to love to go to the state fair. I mean, I always loved the state fair, but two things: it didn't look near as big, and I don't know. There's just some things I didn't like about going to the fair this year. Maybe I'm showing my age. Maybe
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, we got to head out to Utah here later in the.
Surely you're gonna fly to Utah, ain't you?
We are, but we even talked on the way back. I'm like, man, how far would that be to drive? It's like
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. And I thought, man, I missed out. I should have probably taken the time and driven.
We'll just fly to Denver and then drive from Denver. That was what I would say.
Yeah, we're flying to Salt Lake City, and
that's not bad.
I'll still have to drive 3 hours to it. So
yeah,
I just don't like flying.
Well,
I'm scared. I'm not that I'm scared. It's just once I'm doing it, I'm fine. But just the thought of it, I'm like, I just don't really. But I probably put my life in danger about 50 times driving this weekend.
Oh, you're worried about the plane crash. I thought you were worried about just sitting next to all these morons and people coughing on you and people just an average, sitting in line with 150 people to take your shoes off, to, get poked and prodded on and x-rayed on and jacked around on. And that's what I thought. No.
I just once you're up there, if it's an unexpected landing, it doesn't seem like it's ever good.
You see Sully. I mean, he handled it.
Well, if Tom Hanks is in the cockpit.
I used to fly to Europe a lot, and I'd look out, and most of the time it's cloudy, but when it's not, it's in big old rough, just a gray sheet of waves down there.
Really?
And sometimes, yeah, because it's just ocean, right? It's just ocean. We would take off out of Minneapolis, and you go straight up to Duluth, right up the North Shore to Thunder Bay, Ontario. And you get up north, and then on a clear day in the evening, the sun off 1 million pieces of water down there in Canada is like nothing you ever saw. And what's weird? Like even now, this seems like this time of year, all suddenly it doesn't seem like very long. You're out of Minneapolis, and there's snow and ice up there because you fly up and then go over. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And the few times that you can actually see the gray ocean out there, and then you see it whitecapping from 35,000 feet. Now, when you can see a whitecap from 35,000 feet, that's a freaking wave.
I was gonna say that's not white.
I always think about all the people, like the who was the gal that like the Lindberghs of the world, or those guys, Amelia Earhart, people like that, but to me, there's some solace that says, okay, I don't have to worry about it, because if something happens on this thing, we're dead.
Yeah,
it ain't going to be worried about where we're going to find a place to put down, where we're going to land, or whatever. It's over with. So you just relax, see what's on TV and just chill.
Isn't that like every day anyway, right?
In my life?
If we crash, it's just all.
No, not really. I mean, I don't know, metaphorically or literally. I've been waiting for the damn economy to crash for the last couple of months. I've been worried about
I just read
coming to an end.
I just read, and they said that ain't happening. They said we just added over 500,000 jobs to the workforce in July, and they said that is not those are not the numbers that happen when there's a recession. Said the unemployment is below pre-COVID. So they said it's not happening.
Speaking of, I know this ain't a political show.
Yeah.
Where'd all the workers go?
This is what's funny is so my daughter's a prosecutor. Okay. Right. She told me that one of the ladies who's a prosecutor, so that means this woman's a lawyer. Okay. Went to law school and been practicing and working for the state or county or whatever. Uh-huh. And so during COVID, when they all stayed home, she kind of started a side gig, because they were home all the time, of a travel planner, like they got these high-end wedding planners and travel planners. Mm-hmm. She ended up, it was so successful, she has people working under her. She's leaving at the end of the year being a prosecutor, and this boutique high-end travel business is what she's going to do. So there's somebody that's leaving a really good paying job with benefits and retirement that somebody would have killed the guy to go work from home and just help people plan trips. And I think that is what a lot of people did when they were faced with trying to figure out how to make money, because they couldn't work the jobs that they were used to. And if you had a choice of going to working in the drive-thru at McDonald's or going to garage sales and flipping stuff on eBay or whatever, what are you going to do? You make the same amount of money. You're going to set your own hours and not have a boss and not have to work Sunday night to close if you don't want to. I just think more people decided they were going to work on their own terms and do things that they liked to do and enjoyed doing, and figured out that maybe they didn't need as much money as they thought they did. And it kind of screwed the people who depended on people who wanted to work 11, the 3 to 11 shift at the McDonald's drive-thru.
Well, God bless them. I hope that's what the case is.
Yeah. I mean, what else is it?
I don't know if there can be anything else.
I mean, I just think people figured out there's more important things than, working 40 hours.
Yeah.
Well, but they are working at something they enjoy. I mean, let's be real. If you're making $12 an hour, I think you and I could go figure out a way to make $500 a week without a boss if we really had to. If they told us, look, go figure out how to make $500 a week. Well, we could do it in a heartbeat, I think. Don't you think?
I don't. I'm trying not to think.
I think we could. I think we could figure something out. And I just think that's what happened is people are like, okay, I can make $500 a week hustling, on my own, whatever it is, making fishing lures out of, empty pop bottles and,
cans they pick up on the side of the road.
Yeah, and old Christmas ornaments. I'm going to make fishing lures. I mean, that's whatever. More power to them.
That's right.
Life's too short.
See, I knew you'd have answers. Now, how have them guys got their pants around their ankles?
I don't know. I don't have that answer.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.